Vincenzo's Go Crypto Investing this May the 8th, 2025. Explosive cryptocurrency and blockchain technology and XRP daily, nightly video that is built here for the retail trader with truth, trust, education, and information. And it was an explosive day of the Bitcoin was up 6%. Ethereum itself, Ethereum was up as the major cap coins was up 20% today. That's right, Ethereum, 20%. Still don't want to buy you, even though Ethereum was up 20%. 20%, and look what it did. It held on that top part of that blue trading zone at $1,811 that we were following. We had an initial target on a breakout of a 16.49% move up near the 200-day moving average, and it got above the 200-day moving average, $2,199. We had an initial first pump if it did go bullish at 21.26, and then we said the next target was the 200-day moving average. Didn't know it would do it in one day with a 20% pump up to 24.36 is your next major resistance or resistance, and you can see we're just sitting just above in the daily time frame. The pump from just below the 50-day moving average in the daily, or right along the top part of that blue trading zone that it was straddling along for how many days? The 23rd through the 7th, so over 2.5 weeks, and then finally pumped and broke to the upside with all the buy pressure. And now you would look at the 24.36 as your next area of resistance, and then if it breaks that, and it's been lagging Bitcoin and has not made a new high from this bull run from the Donald Trump 2024 to early 25 bull run. It did not make a new high from the 2020 COVID top, because you can see back there we hit $4,855-ish dollars, and the Donald Trump or the early 2024 pump we hit about 4,000 and change, and then the Donald Trump, the end of the year, we had a bookend. The beginning of the year rally, end of the year rally, ended at a 4,000 and change. Before we had a massive collapse, right? So you could be coming up, if you can breach the 200-day moving average and you can do 20% in a day, you could come all the way back to $3,000 or the bottom part of this light green, and we're going to mark it because that is possible. Clone it. The bottom part of this light green up there at $3,000, that is possible if you can do 20% in a day and you can get some more buyers to squeeze in there. So that's what we're looking at. On any kind of rejection now, you're going to be playing the moving averages below it. So if we get rejected at the 100-day moving average, you'd be looking at the 50-day moving average that is slowly uptrending now, and will be uptrending a lot more the next couple of days if the price stays up here. You're going to look at the 50-day moving average, and then if it came down even more, the $1,800, and then above it, your first major resistance is 2,436 at the 200-day, and then if you broke that and held above it, you would shoot very quickly up to this $3,000 level. So this is very exciting for Ethereum. We're here to bring you the latest breaking news. We're here to keep the retail trader informed, and we're here to give you education and information and my own personal opinions on what's going on. You can see key factors in the surge overview. Let me read that. That's what I want to read. Apparently I can't read that. Bitcoin price surge due to 3.5 billion in spot Bitcoin ETF inflows in 3 weeks, and a new plan to raise 84 billion in additional buying, right? The technicals are at strong buy. Usually that means there could be some kind of correction soon. But now what we got to look at in the Bitcoin is, are we going to blow past and make a new all-time high? This mountain double top that we had in this correction would officially be over. Or are we going to do the ultimate classic bull trap where we come down a good percentage, about 30%, come all the way back up, almost get to a new all-time high by exploding at the very end like we've done today, and only to the next 6 to 10 days do something like that, and we have massive rollovers and everything, and it looks like that, a massive technical textbook bull trap, right? So those are the two scenarios. Scenario one is it's a classic technical bull trap, and this head and shoulders pattern is still in play, something that led us good and gave better buying opportunities for people from the blow off top. Bitcoin was down 31, 32, 33% on the wick, and altcoins were down 50 to 75% from their highs. Or this is going to continue to the upside. This is the start, and this was the bottom. This was a regional bottom. Right here is what this would have been, and we're going to blow past the old high and go up to $119,000, right? So that's what we're looking at. But the technicals that got us down to that 74,000 was seeing this mountain double top, right? Calling it out as the first leg down. Oops. And it did that beautifully. Oops. Stay down there. Stay down. Yeah. And it did it beautifully, but now we have some massive buy pressure, and this is a critical time to see which way this is going to break. If we look at something like, nobody's asked about Altcoin, something like the XRP too, this is critical here. You can see, well, we want to get back out into here, we want to get over to here, and then we want to go into the XRP. The XRP is critical too, because I thought we were, or I mean, almost, it didn't quite fulfill it, but I mean, it got pretty close on the wick. If this is the end, I'm still not convinced that it is, but this head and shoulders topping out reversal pattern that we've been so passionately and emphasizing ever since the purple circle just after the 340 top. You can see right in this circle here is where we drew this pattern, and in every video since then it's been on here because we don't want to take it off until it's invalidated. And we told you from up there, when the price was sitting up at 318, 330, 340, 350, or 330, 320, 330, 310, 330, 320 for several weeks, that we had a $1.28 target, and nobody could believe it could ever go back below $3, let alone or not let alone $1, right? Or let alone $2, down into $1.90 and change. And you can see we got as close as the $1.63 wick low, but at the very least, I was stressing during the whole rally since we got to this point right here in this first consolidation, when people were panic buying, I said there will be better buying opportunities. Don't panic buy at the top of these wicks, because locally within these own wicks, when people were panic buying, even though it looks so short, like how could you get a wick? These are daily candles in here, so there's 2, 3, 4 days that you could have fucking been watching this and panic buying into it, because there were big sporadic spurts where you could go 30, 35% within 2 to 3 days, 24, 48 hours, and get a better buying opportunity. And then especially when we got up into this 340 range, it had a long period here for a lot of people to get preyed and paid upon, but their emotions by watching any channel that they would go on the YouTube with the mainstream telling them that the price was immediately going to $5, there would be no correction of substantial fortitude, and you might as well buy up there. And people were panic buying because they were being told to buy. They already thought they missed out because they didn't buy at 30 cents, 50 cents, 75 cents, 90 cents, or $1. And then now at 340 they wanted to buy, and we stressed there would be a better buying opportunity. And you can see from that time we had a 3.5 month span and a 52.81% correction with multiple opportunities below $2, right? But I'm still not convinced that this is over. Right now we've held support on the 209 neckline, and that's where we're at right now. Our next spot, because we're above the moving averages and the daily time frame, the next major upper resistance is up here at the $2.55. And if we continue to the upside and there is no immediate correction, this is your next major resistance zone up here on like this. It looks like a pinkish type deal. Maybe like that. The $2.55 range is your next major upper resistance, and that is a critical area, because when you're above that, it kind of invalidates the head and shoulders ish, but not really. Doesn't invalidate it. It's a critical area of resistance, and any kind of breakdown, you would look at the underneath 50 and 100 day initially, and then obviously the neckline down there at $2.09. So this is going to be very interesting going into this weekend. As do we continue pumping this weekend, or is the weekend the start of the dumping on profit taking / people that were buying these pumps start to get nervous as they're buying things that go up 20%, 30% within 24 hours. So this is going to be very, very interesting to see what happens. Obviously, AMP, we're still waiting for some kind of a pump. We had a little bit of a movement late in the day today, and you can see we've pumped up from a bunch of zeros, 393 level, all the way up now to the 430 level, just below the 100-day moving average at 459, and the 200-day moving average is at 504. So we're going to look and see if we can't take out this local high from a couple of days ago back here at this wick off high just above the 100-day moving average. See if we can't take that out, get to the 200-day moving average, and continue to get some buyers and some support, where you could look something like this, get some support, something like this, get some support, and then get mass flow of buyers that you're above the moving averages, where people that were shorting it slash having buy orders getting triggered above the moving averages, and then it just runs the price up to the 665 level, right? I still think we have to have a kind of pump here that we've seen in other coins. I think AMP's going to happen. I think it's going to make some people some money, and I'm very excited for when it does happen. Unlike, I'm not excited for that. With a current temperature with a frost advisory just north of downtown Detroit, inside the Vincenzo compound, with clearing skies and winds calming, and a crisp late spring, 43 degrees J. I still think the price is going to pump and money is going to be made, and it's going to be very exciting for when it does happen there with the AMP. What are some of these other coins that I didn't cover? ZBCN, I know people like. We've had a gigantic spike in ZBZN. And you can see we took out the February high, barely, but we took out the February high in ZBZC. We had the Donald Trump pump. Look at that. And then we came all the way down, and we're sitting on this major support level, which was near the all-time low. And it gave people time. I don't know anything about this. Gave people time to buy on there. And we watched it fall, and we thought it would fall down to that level. And you can see now it's had a massive pump, and that seems to be what the telltale sign is of this coin. It has massive pumps, and then it gives it all back, right? And you can see the whole history of this. It started way up here on a massive pump, and then had a massive dump, then a nice pump, gave it all back, went lower, then a nice pump, gave it all back, but didn't go lower than its all-time low, and then a series of pumps and dumps, but never gaining any ground, always going back to, if not lower than where it started. Then we had the massive Donald Trump pump right here, and then it gave it all back, and now we're having another pump where it briefly broke, slash unofficially broke, officially tied the end of the Donald Trump into February pump, right? The crypto bull run pump. It officially tied, slash unofficially broke it. And could that just be what you're going to see now? Another big dump like that just happened? I'm not sure. Only time will tell. But that is definitely something that we're going to watch, because it ran up in a similar amount of time. Will it come down similarly that like it did here? So what I'd be paying attention for is, does something like this take place next? Because that's what this coin is. You can only, technicals and the price and the history give you signals, and what it does, and its trademark is to pump rapidly over a short period of time, and then over a slightly longer period of time give it all back, and then do it all over again. So that's what we're going to be watching here in ZBCN, because other than that, I don't know anything about that coin. Matic, you can see all these coins are pumping. Matic continues to go to Vincenzo's, predicts new all-time low, and you'll say, oh wow, that's easy. Nope, that prediction was made during this whole era back here, late 2021, 2022, back down by that dinosaur, and then we just moved it over in the current time frame so we could see it, and you can see the price did actually come down there, and we put it down there because it was a few like 30 or 50% below the old low, right, that we were basing it off of, and that's why we put it down there at about 15 cents, because it was a 50% capitulation from its old low. It did come back down there. We're talking about Matic, Polygon, because audience members, Jabroni Killer members ask about it. You can see we're trying to fight through these moving averages, and you can see it's a process. We first bottomed, then we came up and hit the 100-day moving average, came back down, held support on the 50, right, and now we're going to have to try to make our second run up, hit up against this 29 cents, come down, get held on the 100-day moving average, and then make a thrust and a pump through into this orange trading box of resistance and get just on top of or over the 200-day moving average, and then you can come back down and retest this and hold it, and then thrust and pump back up into there, right? And that can be your very bullish sign to try to continue to go short-term bullish and make more inroads above major areas of overhead resistance, right? And that's very critical to try to turn around a multi-year a catastrophic 99% flush, right? Because I believe where you're at now from the all-time high, that's a 99% flush, right? All the way up here down to the red dots, 91.21% the crippling flush, right? So that's very interesting. We'll see what happens there. Quorum had a magnificent pump too, I believe. You can see Quorum is now almost to where what we talked about back when this thing was going to come down to 10 cents. And remember, we gave you that first mover advantage back up here when we started talking about Quorum, that we had targets down here. Get out of there. Don't want to buy a car. We had targets down there at 10 cents. And then if it broke that, we would go down to the all-time low at 0.064 cents. But we did start showing you this as we got closer to hitting the 10 cents for the first time in green here, that we could have a potential bounce, and a ferocious bounce all the way up to the 20-cent level. And now that is actually going to happen. And I should have took my own advice and bought this, because that is a 1x return if it hits that 20 cents. And you can see that you are almost there, and you are now above the 100-day moving average, holding it as support, allowing it to have the freedom to make another big run to 20 cents. Obviously, on any kind of rejection, now your 50 days a major underneath support, and obviously the 10 cents is your biggest, greatest area of underneath support. So this is very exciting. This is very interesting, and we're going to see if this is the beginning of something special, or if this is a big manipulated, malicious, devastating bull trap, right? But only time will tell. And I'm here to give you my interpretations and the information and the education in a truthful, trustful way, in a super simple and easy way for you to technically trade this market. And you can see what turbocharged today, especially, and yesterday, the altcoin bull run, even with Bitcoin going up 15%. You can see Bitcoin dominance having the biggest consecutive red candle days since, I'm going to say, back here in February, right? And that gave extra momentum and extra relief and extra extra money flowing into the altcoins that pump these things that were down 60 to 80% from their regional highs. And if we continue to see this dump, the altcoins can continue to pump, right? And continue to pump hard. So this is very exciting. I'm going to stay here on top of this for you. Peace and love. The Rex Eyebrow. Jay.